Okay, I'm live. And hey to all you liberty lovers out there. Am I ever glad? I know we're a very tiny minority here in this country, but am I ever glad that I know fine folks like yourself? Oh, and let me just say, first and foremost, right on. Shout out to Gato Villano. How you doing, my friend? I see you. I see you there. First, right on, right on. Anyways, like I say, let me just well, what obviously what this topic of a discussion today, or shouldn't say, well, not necessarily discussion, I guess, a monologue, right? What I'll be talking about, but I'll definitely be paying attention to what you folks are saying in the chat as well, as per usual, right? Always looking to hear and see what you folks have to say. What's going on, my friend? But yeah, obviously, freedom of speech, big time under attack. Not like this is the first iteration or the first time we've heard the Trudeau liberals, start hammering away. We've heard this, them chipping away at this narrative or hammering away at this narrative for a while, right? Where they're constantly, I mean, one thing you got to say, at least they've been, putting it out there, right? It's not like Canadians haven't had any warning. I mean, come on. We've been given ample warning by the top-down authoritarians among us, aka the Trudeau liberals. Not that I suggest it would be any better under the NDP or O'Toole's conservatives, right? Like, really, though? Or any other establishment party in this country. Now, no matter of fact, the only choice you would ever have in this country in terms of gaining freedoms is if Libertarian Party of Canada ever comes to any kind of position of power or influence in this country. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that right away. But like I say, what we're seeing is the establishment, they're hell bent on destroying anyone's ability to speak open. I mean, we already know. I mean, come on, people like myself. I mean, you have to literally have been living under a rock for the last 10 years not to realize that, yeah, there's like, it's not that I'm an unpopular guy. I've never been unpopular my whole life. But, the reason why I probably only get a few hundred views on my videos and my live streams these days is you got to believe that there's a lot of people out there who don't want voices like mine to be even available for anyone to hear, because what it is they recognize people like myself. I speak with such common sense, so much reason, so much fact, so much objective reality based conversation. Anyone that's ever talked to me, they'll all tell you the same thing. Is like, if you're going to sit down and actually have a debate or dialogue with me, pertain to whether it's social, economic, any of these political issues, even these health things that are related to COVID, go ahead. But you're going to have to work really, really, really hard, because I'm not in it for ideological reasons. I'm just here in the pursuit of knowledge and truth. And like I say, when you don't come with all that fucking baggage, like, makes me much more agile, right? I'm agile, man. I can fucking move around. I'm like Bruce Lee, right? Like a poop poop. Whereas, like I say, the people who are my opponents, they're bogged down with so much bureaucratic baggage and impositions on them that prevents them from being able to speak freely. So they can't stand the fact there are people like myself who, first of all, can speak freely because I'm not beholden by anyone. Nobody fucking pulls the strings, right? No, like if I was on CBC, I'd have to be really careful about what I say because my paycheck relies on me towing the line, right? No, I'm an independent guy. Nobody other than the fine folks that watch my channel that choose to voluntarily support me. But like I say, with or without, I'd still be doing what I'm doing. Because like I say, when I recognize it's the right thing to do, I'll do. I don't need to be poked, prodded, or guilted into it, or bullied or intimidated. I'll just do the right thing because I recognize that it's the right thing to do. But like I say, the hacks in the established media in particular, I mean, come on, it's always these hacks in the established media, in particular in Canada. Come on, CBC or Global News, the Globe and Mail, right? We know the typical CTV, right? The old establishment, right? They don't want anyone to challenge the status quo or their dominant voices or narrative. And so they're hell-bent on using whatever excuse is necessary to silence or suppress people. And of course, the go-to narrative today is what we're seeing time and time again is just label everyone who disagrees with you, who don't toe the party or ideological line, just label them all as far right or conspiracy theorists or a little mixture of both. Yeah, actually throw in a little bit of sexism and racism, right, on that mix, and there, boom, there's their magic recipe and how they can, destroy our ability to speak open. Okay, go ahead. And I get that they've been very effective in doing so, but how long can they truly be effective at completely silencing and suppressing alternative voices? Don't you think even the people who are in the circles of the progressives, right, are like, oh, wait a minute, damn, the walls are, even here I'm recognizing the walls are closing in fast. and the parameters of allowable speech or think, that's being gradually shrunk as well. So even the insiders, even the people who are benefiting from the destruction of freedom of speech, even they at this point in time, you're going to see them are like, like I say, I'm not a big fan of this constant narrowing where it's like we're going to all get trapped up in this massive bottleneck if we don't start, expanding or open things up a little bit more, right? And that's the other thing it does too, is it actually, the minute someone's suggesting that they want to basically rip your tongue out, metaphorically speaking, of course, it's not that, I mean, come on, if they're just words, I mean, are they really are those words really that dangerous, or is it the fact that they're just scared that someone might actually hear them, right? So when the person's trying to rip out their opponent's tongue, it's that they don't have any faith or trust in their own ability to counter the other person, their opponent's own narrative. So it tells you that these people, the people who are advocating for suppression or denying people freedom of speech, are people that don't have very good arguments, because they wouldn't be advocating for people to be silenced or intimidated or bullied or shut up if they actually thought they had the right position, right? Entrenched in moral, ethical, or even legal standards, or anything remotely principled. And as I see that John Hicks joined the chat, I just wanted to mention this real quick to John. Yeah, so by the way, John, just to let you know, man, I still don't have my internet connection. I'm piggybacking off my son again, and today he got called into work. Was unexpected, actually, and it's a long ship, which is why I wouldn't be using his internet connection if he had, to use it for himself, because both of us in the rural setting, no, it would have totally ruined his ability to use his own internet. So I had to, fortunately, like I say, unfortunately, he got called, not fortunately for me, unfortunately for him, get called into work. So I have the ability to use his internet, and we're still working on it. Actually, let me just say this right now before I even continue on. ExploreNet, that's who I use, and they've gone completely authoritarian. I don't know what the fuck's going on in this country, folks. Let me just say this first and foremost. Hashtag, actually, let me type this out right here. Hashtag there. Why not? This is usually temporary. Wait a minute and try again. Oh, there we go. It works. An arrow Kurt on Facebook. This is usually, anyways, yeah. Hashtag ExploreNet sucks. Yeah. For some reason, I've had the worst internet connection. I mean, been trying my best to try to make it so that it's at least conducive to doing a half decent stream. Anyways, I called up because we had a reduced a discount rate on our internet for like 3 or 4 months because of the whole COVID thing. And what it is, ExploreNet tries to limit our ability. I'm on unlimited. I'm supposed to be on unlimited. My connection, right? What I build, the bill, the settings, the payment setup that I have is for unlimited internet. So I shouldn't be limited or restricted anyway. That's kind of right. It's not ambiguous. Unlimited means a certain thing, right? But no, they're constantly slowing down my internet connection. I'm fucking later in the evening, and it's called the fair access policy. It's just socialism, right? ExploreNet is just like another one of these corporations in Canada that has pivoted to, they wouldn't be able to survive or thrive in the private market, so they look to government, to subsidize them in some way. And of course, government, all that comes with lots of baggage where the government gets to dictate control. Anyway, so ExploreNet has a big cozy relationship with government, apparently. And when I called them, not only did they not fix my internet connection, but my internet connection got severed entirely. And apparently the excuse is it must be the piece of equipment. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with ExploreNet, but it's just a little receiver fucking thing on your roof. It's not as big as like the satellites of old, like DirecTV and shit. It's just a little tiny square or diamond shaped, it sits on your house, right? But it's just a little receiver. The tower is actually not that far from my house, probably like not even a quarter mile away. But for some reason, like I say, I'm having my internet connection. It was reduced and they couldn't fix it, and I lost it entirely. When I called the next day, dude couldn't fix me up, right? So apparently it must have been something to do with my hardware. Anyways, make a long story short, I won't get into everything, all the details with you folks, but yeah, I'm probably going to be taking ExploreNet to court. I got them to send out an email. Basically, I wasn't even going to be able to have my internet connection. They won't come out to hook up my internet connection. It's like, well, what do you mean? Then don't come out. If you fucked it up and you were on the other side of things, no one came out to ruin my internet connection. So why you got someone out to fix it? But even if you do, but they're playing the whole COVID thing. And if I don't answer all these fucking stupid questions, these private healthcare questions, like in terms of the health, how the people in my family, in my household, how we're doing. Because you know how the COVID questions, the what dozen questions or whatever. And I said, no, I'm not going to answer your fucking questions. Anyways, make a long story short, they basically got me over the barrel. Well, if I don't, well, we're not going to fix your internet. In other words, so I won't have internet. And the only thing that even when they sent the email after, and like I say, I spent hours on the phone arguing with these fuck sticks. But even after then, the best I could get was, oh, well, we won't deny you service entirely, right? They're trying to play this legalese thing where, oh, we'll come out and fix it, but after COVID's over, right? After there's no longer any restrictions on, well, how we've already seen it went from 2 weeks, back in early 2020 till now, early 2021, a fucking year later. Could you imagine if this had happened to me back a year ago? I'd be a year later and no longer, I still wouldn't have an internet connection because no, I ain't gonna fucking bow down and answer. I even said, dude, what? You don't even have to send the guy into my house. The dish, or I mean, the receiver is up on the roof. He can be outside. The only thing that's in the house is a little tiny black fucking thing, little box that the power cord comes into with your Ethernet connection. I said, if he wants to try that, switch them out, it just plugs in the wall. You don't need any technical savviness. It plugs in the wall and plugs into the Ethernet. Simple. I'll change it, put one at the door, walk away. I'll go out and grab it, right? So we don't even have to come anywhere near each other. I'll bring it in. I'll hook it up. You test that shit. I said I will accommodate. I'll try to find as many ways possible so that you can protect your employee from COVID. Oops, it's so scary because, out here in rural New Brunswick, like, first of all, there's no fucking reports of anything in my area of any COVID. So I don't know, but mysterious boogie COVID, man, COVID can fucking give anyone an excuse now to fuck over. You see how this is working? I don't have an internet connection. I'm still paying for the cocksucking thing, right? I'm having to piggyback off my sons because, right? Big government authoritarianism and fucking fascism. Modern day, like we have corporations and government literally in bed with each other. And they're working hard every day to fuck people. Now, is it because of who I am? I don't fucking know. It could be, maybe they're fucking many other people over like this too. But I'm saying right now, I don't have an internet connection. Now, what my wife did, because she works every day and she has to do these stupid fucking things anyways and wearing masks and all that shit, she said, I'll just do it. So I'm going to get it. They're going to come out supposedly on Tuesday to fix me up. But she was the one that had to answer the questions, and I'm going to have to go somewhere or whatever, or just make sure that I'm nowhere near anyone or whatever. But I said, no, I'm not going to do it. So my wife said, I'll do it. I got to do it every day fucking anyways when I go to work. So I'll just do it. And we're going to get the internet. So we're going to get the internet connection back up. But look at what, and like I say, I made sure, and the conversations are all recorded. So like I say, all the evidence is there. So it's just a matter of me now waiting until the proper time frame. And this is one of those times. This is one of those hills I'm willing to die on because I know I'm in the perfect place to do so. So explore that. And I mean, come on, Elon. I've got myself on the email list. Not like I expect Elon was there, but come on, man. Get me into the beta testing. I need access to Starlink immediately because I feel like I'm constantly having my voice stymied to the point where, like I say, other than yelling inside my own head, I don't feel like I'm going to have access to anybody's ears for much longer if I don't at least, get out from these fucking established players and this goddamn top-down authoritarian fucking system that we're living in this country is just unbelievable. Yes, so please, like I say, not that I expect Elon's going to be watching the stream, but I really need to get hooked up to Starlink, right? That's where our freedoms rely on is people or these alternative private businesses or ventures like Starlink to give us the opportunity and not be beholden to these other dipshits or these corporate execs and these institutions that are so cozy with government that you can't tell the difference between them these days, right? Crazy stuff. Anyways, let me get to this real quick, and then I'm going to get back into the chat and see how all you folks are doing. But I just wanted to bring this up because this is really long. And listen to this. Oh, by the way, if I had the big money like the $1 billion+ that the hacks at the CBC could steal and plunder the Canadian people to prop them up, I could have all kinds of goodies, right? I could have the best intro ever. I mean, even at 1/100th of what's provided to the CBC. Actually, give me 1/1000th, right, of what's provided to the CBC, and I'll make the most amazing news and information channel you've ever seen in your goddamn life. And I know, but I have lots of ideas, but very minimal in terms of resources. But I mean, I know that CBC, they get to do these these intros and stuff. Like I say, it's just me, myself, and I doing everything. But anyways, listen to this, folks.
We weren't doing anything very crazy or
Okay,
extravagant,
what
but we
the
loved spending time. But like cooking was actually a huge part of it. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I
damn it, that was
appreciated
muted,
really was
wasn't it?
that he liked the food for my culture, and we made that a lot, and seemed to really enjoy it and be interested
Huh.
in it.
Weird.
So
Anyways,
that was definitely a big thing between us.
Priya is South Asian. Steve is white.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. We just enjoyed our time together, and I guess
Priya's South Asian and Steve is white. That's really, really important. Very important. The hacks of the media, I mean, they're so consumed constantly every day and inundated with this fucking the color of your skin and how much that matters, right? I mean, just think about how many times, even just myself, have shared articles or publications or podcasts or any kind of material relating to someone that's representative of the establishment or the status quo who are painting or targeting white people is just the worst of the worst of the worst, right? Well, it continues on unabated and seemingly unchallenged because you never see. That's the thing. If you look here, make sure you folks can see that down there. Yeah, you can. So if you look here, this is 29 minutes long. Was there, did they bring Steve on? Right? After they were halfway through the 15-minute mark, you think this was this who's this doing the interview? I don't know, front burner, whoever does this, whatever, right? Do you think 15 minutes in they said, okay, we heard your side of the story. Now we're going to hand it off to Steve. There's Steve here. How about you tell your side of the story, Steve? Because there's usually two sides to the story at the very least, right? No, you'll recognize. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. I wouldn't bore you to that fucking point, right? But no, this entire 29-minute segment on CBC is just white man bad. Well, she's using the excuse or this woman's ex-boyfriend bad, bad, bad. But it's basically to allude or suggest the same thing, right? It's, the undertone is the same thing time and time again. White man bad, especially if you're a heterosexual, right? White man. Right? Oh, and right wing. If you're right wing or conservative or anything, even libertarians, like so I was like, wait, first a minute, why do you keep throwing us libertarians in with the fucking conservatives? Like, because I can't stand conservatives any more than I can stand fucking liberals, to be honest with you. So can you please stop with that nonsense? At least, right? Because like I don't align either there, right? Not beholden to either. I'm a big boy. I'm an adult. I'm independent. Right? But it's so crazy because, like I said, the undertone of this whole thing is storytelling. See, this is what the left is really, really good at. Okay, how is this happening twice? How the fuck did my goddamn shit get muted twice? That's fucking weird, no? Anyways, thanks for letting me know about that there. Wow, John. Or G Rich. Why no sound? So that was everything I was just saying and doing. The whole thing was a waste, huh? Nothing to see here, folks. It's just normal like usual, right? This is just how things work. Welcome to the new normal. Where fucking your your volume gets muted. I don't know, what the hell did I touch? What did I do that muted my fucking volume? I have no fucking idea. But let's continue on. Jesus Christ. Things are getting fucked up here, folks. The government wants to remove our ability to assemble in person and online, but this will backfire on them. People are starting to feel the pain and will start to doubt the narrative. I think you're right there. Some. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But I do agree with you there, Gato. But why the fuck did my goddamn microphone mute fucking 2 different times in this stream? I've never had that happen before. You guys know I don't typically. Good day, believing in individual freedom and liberty. So I just wasted this whole time. Fuck, I'm 25 minutes into it, and the whole thing was a waste. Am I gonna? I might just. I don't know. I'm contemplating right now. This stream will have been a complete and utter fucking waste. No sound. No fucking sound. Anyways, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there, John. Jesus Christ, how the fuck did my shit get fucking muted twice? I'm finally gonna have to swallow my pride and maybe reach out to a couple peeps that I know have really good knowledge in terms of the inner workings of computers and find out if there's maybe something nefarious going on that I'm not aware of as to why I keep seeming to run into fucking issues time and time and time again. I don't know. But anyways, the censorship that's going on is driving me to want to leave social media. I'm starting to feel like I'm an extreme far right, white supremacist, and possibly a domestic terrorist. The government can have itself. They're getting the reaction they're looking for now. Yeah, I'm with you there, Alexandria, Lugan. But just you don't have to leave, right? You don't have to abandon them entirely. You know, the ones that aren't conducive, put it this way, if you're on a social media platform and it's not being effective and you have no way of doing anything and nobody pays attention to you and you're overlooked or ignored, yes, don't waste your time. I don't. I wouldn't. I don't like to. But vacating these platforms entirely, you don't have to. You just got to, what I do is I just make sure I have, alternative platforms and the dominant social media platforms so that no matter what, like I have redundancy built in and backed up so that no matter what, if I get kicked off, people will know where to find me. But yeah, I'm not the kind of guy that's just going to run away, stick my tail between my legs and say, okay, you guys won, right? But so yeah, I get what you're saying, Alexandra, but don't vacate the space entirely because I think they might, although that's the other thing. Part of me also thinks, well, maybe if we did, then they'd have to function completely in an echo chamber of leftists. And how long would even the leftists want to do that, right? So actually, yeah, forget about listening to my opinion or my perspective. You do you, I'll do me. Because at the end of the day, your ideas might be just as effective as mine. That's the beautiful about being decentralized and not beholden to each other, right? We can think on the fly. It's just like the whole thing with the GameSpot, right? Rather than one centrally planned or one central figurehead at the top of a organization such as that hedge fund, right? That's making the decision. Somebody's the ultimate arbiter and decision maker, right? As to the short selling, how long they'll go, what they'll do. Whereas decentralized, the Reddit folks, they show that, yeah, a whole bunch of people, all decentralized, making their own informed decisions autonomously. That'll kick the proverbial central planners and the collectivist ass every goddamn time, right? So that was a great thing. And that's what we have to do as freedom lovers and independent sovereign human beings is take cues and ideas from each other. That's what I do. But just remember, right? You might have some a better idea than I have, and promote your stuff. Like I say, that's the beauty of competition. That's the beauty of the market is there is no one size fits all approach. Matter of fact, we can come at this from multi prongs and multi angles, right? Don't forget hurt feelings. Yeah. But anyway, sorry about the first part. I'm not going to start the stream all over again, but I am really sorry that the audio was completely fucked up. I don't know why. I didn't touch anything, as you see. I didn't touch nothing on my microphone. You guys were watching me, but for some reason, something happened. I must have said something that bothered somebody or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, they must be scared now, right? The minute they're targeting people and making that blanket statement where they're suggesting that everyone that even just dares to challenge the status quo are now a bunch of far-right Nazis or white supremacists, yeah, they've completely lost the narrative entirely, right? Anyways, thanks for that, John. And we'll definitely connect 100%. 100% we'll connect. And we'll get on that live stream about live streaming here shortly. That's right. They're scared, but I think they'll get crazier and bolder. And yeah, well, I mean, they've doubled down. Like to them, I suppose it's a zero-sum game. That's the way they've set it up, right? They've set it up so it's a zero-sum game. What do you do when you set up a situation where there's no way to find any common ground, right? Okay, keep playing that game. I never thought the day would come that I'd be a Bell customer again, but is the only rural internet provider that's half decent in our area. Well, you know what? I would love to too. And actually, that's the thing with ExploreNet. It's the only option we have available. Now, for me, I would go to Bell, but unfortunately, Bell, where we are, it still uses the old phone line. There's not even like Bell cable where you can get at least decent high speed. And Bell, you know what? The Bell speed, the best they'll give you. We checked it the other day. But it's basically, I think, 1 or 2 megabyte I think it's 1 or 2 megabytes download and in the mere hundreds of kilobytes in terms of upload. So literally, you just want to check your email, right? Watch a YouTube video in 144p, maybe, right? I mean, it's the most pathetic connection you would ever have, which means that for what I want to do. And I even explained to these people in ExploreNet, it's like, I have a YouTube channel. It's monetized. It's actually a function of income. I need this as a requirement. Like the internet is not just something I do to share my pictures of the cat or my fucking supper, right? It's like, I literally use it as a way to even earn an income or at least attempt to earn an income. None of that even matters, right? But really, but don't we have fucking human rights anymore? Not according to big government and their corporate crony counterparts, right? So this is the world we live in, folks. But yeah, well, at least I'm sure in your area you're probably doing a lot better than that kind of a speed. But ExploreNet as well, far and not very good infrastructure. Yeah, not even close. It is terrible. Good to Starlink. Oh, I want Starlink so bad. Oh, I can't wait. It's fucked and it's well normal. Yeah. My grandma said I looked like King when I was at her bedside in hospital. Little did she know I am King betrayed. Right on, Thocko. Right on, Thocko. Glad to hear that you were by your grandma and her bedside there. That's pretty cool. Yes, I definitely would love to get to Starlink. As soon as I get the opportunity, I'm on it. And you better believe I told them at ExploreNet, which I suppose why they're in no rush or hurry to give me back my internet service, right? I get it. I know this would be a little bit, in the kind of guy that I am, that I stand in defense of my freedom. I get some people get pissed off of me. They don't like me for being as daring as I am. But you know what? If you don't, suck it up, Buttercup, because I'm not ever going to race down to the fucking level of just being a blind conformist like the rest, or at least most of Canadian society. Hell no. I still got a little bit of pride, and I'm going to keep it. The government's trying to destroy capitalism. Are they ever? Your internet company's doing what so many companies are doing these days. They have to jump through the hoops to stay open. Well, like I was telling these companies, though, yeah, behold, if you just align with what government does, but actually, I'll just say this. Actually, let me bring this up real quick. Actually, no, maybe I shouldn't, because I might get some kind of an issue. But if you go on to ExploreNet's website, I didn't know this, but if you go to the About section, no, the Contact section, I won't share this on here, But I'm already massively disturbed with ExploreNet. And if I had known this early on, but I didn't, who goes into these sections, right? The only reason why I went into these sections was because I was looking for a different number other than the 1-800 number where you got to sit there for fucking like what, half hour, hoping somebody will pick up. Anyways, when I went into the contact section, there's an actual section in there is for law enforcement inquiries, right? Click here or send a message or an email here. So apparently ExploreNet is really big into advertising that they're willing to work with law enforcement, right? Swear to fuck, go look on the page right now. Go ExploreNet. It starts with an X, not EX, just X, PLORNET, right? Go on their website and you'll see. Go to the contact section, like, where they give information in terms of like phone numbers and email and all that stuff. And you'll see, yeah, they're looking. So they're so in bed with big government. And like I said, if I'd have known this earlier on, well, I mean, even if I had known this earlier, I say this, but it's like, what would you be able to do, Bennett? Not have any internet or stick to the Bell phone line where you're basically working as if it was the internet of the 80s? I mean, that would be your only option, really. But think about how fucked it is in a country such as Canada, right? I basically have the option to, one, a company that has a real cozy relationship with government, or Bell, which, sorry, I repeat myself, right? So I don't know. Once again, not any options in this country for rural Canadians to get out from underneath top-down government, big government, and fascism. Come on, Elon. Like I say, I need some help here, my friend. I really need some help here if I'm at least going to continue to have a voice for any time going forward. But yeah, I agree with you there. Gato. I record all my conversations too. You have to these days. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You better believe it. You better believe it. If you don't, and like I say, I got them to send me an email specifically stating that they were refusing to reinstate my internet without answering these goddamn fucking private health questionnaires, right? And right now, I'm sure the people in government saying, no, go ahead, do it. Don't worry. We'll cover you. Don't worry. When it comes to the legal aspects, or if anyone sues you, don't worry. We got your back. And if these corporations are stupid enough to fall for that, or even if government does, well, like I said, we, the customers, right, kind of have a fucking little bit of a voice too. So you've already shown me, ExploreNet has already shown me, and I'll spend the rest of my days pointing out how fucking much big government and ExploreNet have gotten these cozy relationship with each other. And like I say, down to the point, if their entire business model ceases to exist and they get wiped out entirely, you get exactly what you deserve, right? Good for you. You go ahead and cozy up to big government. But once again, that places you squarely in opposition to the masses, the people who genuinely supported your business, right? Now you're going to have to rely on big government for now and in eternity. And that's a relationship. You might be joining it now. Yeah. It comes with a whole lot of strings attached. So enjoy that shit while you can. Yeah, sorry guys about the audio thing. I see that. Shit, that was fucking terrible. Yeah. They're forcing all return travelers into quarantine down at their own expense. Now, like the Chinese making families pay for the bullet that executed the right. I mean, think about how crazy that is. And you know what? He's not even full of shit. That was true. Let me see. Where did I see that being reported? Let me see if I can't bring that up. Oh, I see John's. Oh, computer. Oh, okay. Will do, my friend. Will do. Oops. Thank you, kind sir. So yeah, what were we talking about here? Get back here. Oh yeah, right. Let me see if I can't find the whole quarantine thing. Scroll way back up to the top here. Oh, by the way, folks, let me show this real quick for you folks. For anyone that's out there that might, let me see whatever it has to do with when I share the screen. Why it muted? Let me see if this will. No, I still have volume, so it has nothing to do with me sharing screen. So how in the fuck did I get muted twice? Yeah. Oh, anyways. So yeah, I'm just letting you folks know about this because I shared this earlier on, and it's Canada Unites, the PCR test Truth Rally Saturday. So that's today, January 30th, 2021. Meet at 1 p.m. at Vancouver Art. So I would assume that's 1 p.m. Pacific time, right? So yeah, you actually still have time to get there yet, folks, if you're out there in the West Coast. They're going to meet at 1 p.m. at the Vancouver Art Gallery, then march together to CTV. Nice. I like it. The PCR test is a DNA test that does not detect viruses or illness. Anyway, so as you can see, join us as we expose the truth. Let's restore the economy and get back to normal. Lots of fine folks, as you can see. Dan Dick shared this. He'll be there tomorrow. Hope to see you there. You got all kinds of different organizations, more freedom-oriented ones that are in showing support and in solidarity of this initiative. So definitely check that out. Like I say, if you're on the West Coast of Canada, and I'm just going to look for that quarantine thing. Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah, so that was this one, right? Yeah. Okay. Out of the National Post. Let me bring this up here. Stop the National Post. Oh, let me take this off. By the way, thanks for that $5 donation and the heads up there, Mr. G. Rich. Sorry for not mentioning that there again. Really appreciate your help. Okay, so National Post. I'm keeping my eye on the mute thing down there. Like I said, I don't know why in the hell it changed, but I'm keeping my eye on it there now. Trying to at least. So yeah, so this is basically, I believe, what you're referencing here. So I'll just read a little bit for you, fine folks, those you maybe aren't privy to this. Oh, maybe if I should bring this down here. Okay. Incoming travelers will face mandatory hotel quarantine while they await COVID tests. Trudeau. Air travelers entering Canada will now be forced into mandatory hotel quarantine at their expense to await. Air travelers entering Canada will now be forced into mandatory hotel quarantine at their expense to await results of a COVID test, Trudeau says. This is reported by Ryan Tumulty, January 29th, 2021. I got to throw some glasses on, folks. Sorry. Eyes aren't doing so great today. Oh yeah, it's better. But yeah, so yeah, hotel quarantine. Hotel quarantine. That's the thing when people were touting these quarantine facilities that the government was building. So all that these people seemingly got wrong was the fact that they were building them. Now, some of them may very well have been built, but what we're seeing actually is not that these facilities don't exist. It's just that they're converting prior infrastructure or facilities such as hotels into these quarantine centers. So the truth is there that there are these facilities now dotted across the country. It's just that the way some people were reporting on it wasn't exactly and precisely 100% correct. But see, that's what the hacks in the establishment media and the political ruling class does these days, is if you get even one tiny detail wrong, they try to suggest, oh, look at how crazy these people are. And then they just label you as conspiracy theory. But in reality, this even suggests that there are places where you have to go to be quarantined that are facilities that the big government has set up. Right? This is just a reality, right? No conspiracy theories involved. Air travelers entering Canada will now be forced into mandatory hotel quarantine at their expense to await results of the COVID test. Okay. Travelers coming into Canada will be forced into mandatory hotel quarantines, part of a suite of measures designed to help Canadians at home as the government grows increasingly concerned about the risk of new COVID variants that appear to be more transmissible. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the quarantines and several other restrictions on Friday outside Rideau Cottage. Trudeau said travelers will pay for their hotel stay up to 72 hours while waiting for a negative COVID test. He estimated the cost at approximately $2,000, as they will have to pay for lodging, food, COVID tests, and security, ensuring they remain inside. So government's forcing this stuff on you, and they're also forcing you to pay for it. Like, how fucked is all this stuff, right? Anyone testing positive for the virus will have to finish their quarantine in a designated quarantine facility. Designated quarantine facility, right? It's right there. It's literally right there where the government will cover the cost. Oh, the government will pay if you test positive. Travelers testing negative will be able to finish their 14-day quarantine at home, Trudeau said the government would step up surveillance of those quarantines. Private security firms have been hired to knock on doors of returning travelers to ensure they're staying home, and the government will make regular phone calls as well. So if you test negative, is that what I'm reading here? If you test negative, you'll still have to finish up your 14-day quarantine at home, but Trudeau said the government will step up. So they're going to fuck you up hardcore, and you're going to have to. So if you're negative and you're paying all the costs for all this, well, the government's going to be spying on you still, right, for the next couple of weeks. But if you're positive, well, the government will pay. At the very least, subsequent to that, if you test positive, well, the government's going to pony up some cash, right? Sounds like an incentive to get people to fucking. Sounds like, hey, get me one of them positive tests. Can you? Hey, can I get a positive instead of a negative? It's like, basically, what the hell? Like, this is. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, come on. I mean, I just like. Am I going to read much more from that? No. Do I really have to? No. I mean, come on. This is fucking insane. But yeah, I'll place a link to this in the description of the stream as well. Because like I say, and I thank you for the folks that send me the message. There was a couple there yesterday, or one yesterday and one a couple of days before. And yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you acknowledge as well. As yeah, when I do these streams, I always place everything that I reference in the description of the stream so that you have it to use. That's your evidence, right? Because if you're just talking, right, people can overlook or ignore what you're saying because they just, but like I say, these are people who are beholden to their thought leaders. So use their own thought leaders. That's the thing, right? Right? Use their, like when they refer to use their experts. To me, it's like, it's easy for them to just ignore what I got to say because they recognize that who's Bennett. He doesn't have any like diplomas from big government or any organized institution, right? So we can just ignore what he says. But these people are their thought leaders and they're experts, which is why I find the most effective way to deal with this stuff is use their own rhetoric against them. And that's why I always share this stuff in it and why I deal with a lot of establishment media articles and information. Use this stuff against them. What's happening? What's happening to you, my friend? And once again, thanks for helping me out there. Okay. But I think we're back into the sound now. How long did we go with no sound? Hey, Cody, what's going on? I haven't seen Cody in a while. I figure they'll decide the vaccine is too expensive. Just go with cheap and expensive. I don't know much. Oh, you guys are probably talking back and forth amongst each other. Okay. So back to just reading the comments here. So back to where's the next one we want to go with this? Yeah. So once again, it's not just the government. This is the crazy part about it is these corporations and government are getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the point where, once again, we're going to become so fascistic in nature that corporations and big government will be almost indistinguishable, right? But look at this. So here we go. And I love how they always use look at this. Propaganda 101. If you want to know what it looks like, here it is, right on perfect display. Like if I was teaching kids about propaganda, I would use this article, right? Or there's lots to pick from. Basically, almost any CBC article. I mean, look at this. Politics. Of course, it's under the politics section. Of course, right? With the headline, Facebook calls on Canadian government to set social media rules. Really? So Facebook can't figure out how to set their own rules. They need government to do that for them. Gee, I wonder why that would be, right? I mean, come on. We've all heard about regulatory capture and how these corporations become so entrenched in part and parcel of big government. It's by doing exactly and precisely stuff like this. Parliament should adopt legislation on what kinds of content should be allowed, Facebook director says. Now, personally, I don't need, I'm not even a big time exec with six-figure incomes at one of these social media platforms, but I can figure out quite easily, quite readily, right, what content should be allowed, right? It's called the freedom of speech. Once again, just look up the jurisprudence and the historical context in the U.S. and all the iterations that the Supreme Court in the U.S. has acknowledged and what freedom of speech means or entails. And There you go. It's already been done. All that work has already been done for you there, Facebook. Right? No need to try and reinvent the wheel or come up with new ways, right, to regulate speech or the internet. These corporate fucks, like I say, I think they even recognize the writings on the walls like, well, we want to become the new establishment, so we got to do this now. And the only way that you can fully entrench yourself as a new establishment is you literally got to get in bed with government to the point where legislation protects you and enshrines your monopoly, right? This is reported by Elizabeth Thompson, January 29th, 2021. But you notice the picture, right? Facebook calls on Canadian government to set social media rules. But what is the fucking immediate visuals? What's the picture you're seeing? Is a bunch of people down in the US, right? And look, come on. It's the fucking, like the generally, what's the Confederate flag, right? With a picture of a gun on it. And then the American flag. And I don't even know what the hell that other flag is, but you know, and MAGA hats. Look, MAGA hats. You can see the MAGA hats, right? So this is saying Trump supporters or people who are disenfranchised with the status quo, and predominantly, once again, I repeat myself, Trump supporters, right? These are people, we need to shut them down. We've already taken out their president, their man. We've already, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Facebook, all the social media platforms, they've already destroyed his ability to speak freely, but we're not done yet. We got to make sure anyone that supported him or anyone who practices wrongthink is placed in the same position. And how we do that? By using this kind of political fodder or propaganda as a means to suggest that anyone who challenges the status quo are just a bunch of far-right, Nazis or ultra nationalist white supremacists that are just out to do what? What are these people doing? What is the history of crime, especially as it pertains to Canada? Where are all these white nationalists or these Nazi groups? And we're seeing being reports of 300 of them in this country, these violent extremist groups. Where the hell are they? And where's all the violence? Because I pay attention to the news every day. Every fucking day. And I'm still waiting to hear about all these reports of this massive rise in violent extremism coming from the right in Canada. I've never seen it yet. I'm waiting. I'm anxiously with anticipation and bated breath for these hacks in the media that show where these extremists are and all the violence that they're responsible for. And the crazy part of it is every time I read these articles, I'm waiting. It's like, it's got to be in here somewhere. No, disappointed time and time again. It's like but it's just rhetoric, folks. It's just rhetoric. And think about it. Look at the kind of people. It's just look at who the people are, what position they carry, what their status is in life, and who they align with. As if, and that really what that finds out is look to the people who you're not allowed to insult, and those are the people that rule over you. Right? Those are the people who are the authority, who have that true pretense of authority over your social, economic, and personal life. Right? So this is telling me that anyone that challenges the status quo, so whoever's part of the establishment now, are really the ones who are responsible for not just the ramp up of division, but the ones who are trying to create even more division and stifling speech and ramping up the rhetoric to the point where we may very well end up in genuine civil conflict. Facebook says it would welcome increasing regulation by the Canadian government, including rules for what kind of content should or should not be allowed on social media platforms. Like, that's the thing. Mega billion, fucking multi-billion, like huge corporation with billions of users, and they need to look to what? A fucking government? You really need to look to government to tell you what, Section 230 gave you the ability that you don't have to worry about what's on your fucking platform. As long as it's not illegal, as long as it's not deemed genuinely illegal, you don't ever have to deal with anything on your platform. That's what Section 230 affords these social media platforms, is you can just like the infrastructure of your landline telephone or your cable or the highway, right? Any kind of infrastructure you're not responsible for what people do on it, right? If there's an accident or people say bad things over a phone, you're not responsible for that. You're just providing the service, the infrastructure. That's what was afforded and granted to these social media platforms. But they're not happy with that because they want to. They want to manipulate. They want to dictate. They want to have that kind of top-down control. And they're like, how do we do that while still trying to stay within? Well, you can't. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you want to be a provider of a platform or a service, or you want to be the publisher or the editors and dictate and control what's allowed to be said on your platform. And if that's the case, real simple. You go ahead and make up whatever the fucking rules you want. As a private company, you have the ability. The government would even tell you, you have the authority to set your own goddamn rules as long as it function within the constructs of, laws and limitations as it pertains to legal jurisprudence, as it pertains to freedom of speech in either country. But once again, these businesses, these corporations are looking. This is what this is all about at the end of the day. It's a way, like I say, to further solidify the relationship, that cozy relationship between big government and the state, or I mean, social media corporations and the state. In an interview with CBC News, Kevin Chan, global director and head of public policy for Facebook Canada, said Parliament should make clear what kinds of contents aren't allowed. Yeah. Let's see them clarify that, because once again, I mean, people that are fucking fully entrenched in legalese and understand constitutional limitations and restrictions on the imposition, all this stuff has been dealt with. It's like, what, you think this is the first time freedom of speech has ever been dealt with? It doesn't matter whether it's online or not. That's another thing. It's like, this freedom of speech matters whether it's done digitally or fucking verbally, right? No, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. Rules, ethics, and principles should be universally consistent, regardless of where or what venue or what platform you're speaking on, right? Come on, these people acting like a bunch of fucking dipshits that don't know their ass from the hole in the ground, right? I can figure it out. How come they can't? I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, even look at this fucking guy. What's this fucking guy? Fucking Harry Potter, fucking the Asian edition or something. He really does. He looks like a weird dude, doesn't he? Right? Holy fucking bug-eyed. It looks like he has that shock look on him at all times. Right? I don't know. Yeah, he's not trying to make fun of the guy's looks or nothing, but yeah, whatever. But these people, like I said, you can't trust these people, man. And like I say, it's not just whether they're from Facebook or Twitter. It's people have special interests. People have their own preferences. They have their own ideologies. They have their own way of doing things. And you better believe that definitely dominates their decisions as it pertains to and how it affects millions and ultimately billions of people. We cannot get to the point, and neither should these social media execs or any of their lackeys even be attempting to try to play these fucking stupid, foolish games. But they are, and they're continuing trying to do so, which is once again why we get to find alternative platforms who are more respecting of our sovereignty and our freedom and our ability to speak out. Anyways, like I said, this will be placed in the description of the stream as well. And I'll move on to the next one. And look at this. Always the same characters too, right? Once again, K Bono, or was it? Yeah, whatever. Who are the people? Find out who these people are. So here's another one. Who's constantly trying to stifle speech? Well, here's another couple characters that seem hell-bent on trying to stifle people's ability to not just speak freely, but the people on the other side of that equation even be able to hear the people that they want to hear speak. And that's another thing we always got to keep in mind. When you talk about stifling freedom of speech, it's not just the person whose speech you're trying to stifle, but it's all the people who are eager listeners and want to hear that information that you're letting down, right? And then you're causing harm to. So two Canadian Canada Post workers, right? Canada Post, Crown Corporation, big government, functions off the forced wealth and income redistributive scheme where you can't hold them to account, right? How can you hold big government to account when they have the power of the purse and the ability to proverbially put the gun to your head and make sure you pay their salaries regardless of whether you want to or not, or economically enslave entire generations to do so, right? Or print out billions of dollars worth of fucking bonds, or there's a multitude of ways to prop up the establishment who are part and parcel of the government. But these people are so emboldened. Like I say, two Canada Post workers in Regina suspended after refusing to deliver Epoch Times. Now you would think, well, at least they were suspended. That's at least a good thing. Well, maybe, but it might also be just a little PR campaign that really didn't do shit, really didn't punish these people at all, but it made you think they did. All right. Readers are wise enough to judge for themselves, says Paper's publisher. Yeah, let's treat people like actual adults. Good idea. Katie Nicholson and Jason Ho is who reported this from CBC News, January 29th, 2021. Two Canadian Post workers in Regina were temporarily suspended earlier this month after they refused to deliver the latest sample edition of the Epoch Times. The head of the local CUPW union that represents postal workers said both mail carriers were escorted from the building when they informed their supervisors they were unwilling to deliver the publication. They were suspended without pay for 3 days. Whoopity-doo. It's Canada Post. It's a government, bureaucratic, and it's a unionized outfit, right? So how much you want to bet that they probably have multiple, whether they're sick days or backup? I guarantee you they're not going to be losing fucking too much, right? Those 3 days without pay, I guarantee you barely notice it, right? Barely notice it because there's going to be some way or the other where they get over that and not see any real detriment or decrease in their pay. Maybe they'll do a CERB thing. I don't fucking know, but rest assured, I'm measly 3 days without pay for a bunch of bureaucrats in Canada Post who refuse, right? Are basically trying. Think about what these people are doing. It might not to you, it might not sound like a big deal, but think about what this really means. I mean, someone who works for a government, crown corporation, Canada Post, is arbitrarily trying to dictate. And these are just people who got caught. How many times do you think this happens where someone hasn't been caught, or when the courier maybe took them and threw them in the fucking ditch rather than deliver them, right? No one would know the difference then, really, would they, right? How do you know? You don't. But the fact that these people are willing to say, yeah, no, oh, you want this? Oh, you want this publication? Well, I'm saying you're not allowed to have it, right? These are people who are basically pretending that they're the arbiter or the dictator who gets to control what you're allowed to see or hear, or what kind of information you're allowed to consume, right? Kind of fucking disturbing, right? And once again, people who work for government see a pattern? Always. The pattern is always the same, folks. The pattern is always the same, right? Which is why people who don't recognize these patterns, like, I don't know, willful ignorance, right? Choosing to be blind? I don't know. But it does make a whole lot of sense to me. Here's another one. Like I say, it never ends, folks. This is the narrative that they seem to be trying to constantly hammer away on, right? This one, another opinion piece. And of course, CBC News, right? Always the same culprits. Unanimous motion in House. Oh, sorry. MPs are sending a clear message that Canada must address hate groups. Now government needs to act. Unanimous motion. Let me say that again. Unanimous motion in House of Commons demonstrates that there's a broad consensus among Canadians. If it's a motion in the House of Commons, they're not fucking just Canadians aren't all politicians or legislators or MPs in the House of Commons. See? But apparently Mustafa Farouk. Yeah. That's who's reporting on this or submitting this CBC News opinion piece. Now, of course, I could do just as much. Right? Think about it. I could play the identity politics game, right? And use the very real fact that this Mustafa Farouk sounds like someone that's probably not of old stock Canadian heritage, it would seem. Why are you coming to this country, Mustafa? And putting out these things that the government must go against people based on their skin color. Because I'm pretty sure these hate groups that you're targeting are people who are white, right? Are you racist, Mustafa? Is that what it is? Are you just listening to the rhetoric from the hacks in the media to the point where you believe the nonsense too, that everyone who's white and who doesn't align with the status quo or the establishment or regurgitate the political talking points, that they're all just a bunch of racists, right? Is that what you're suggesting, Mustafa? Like to have a conversation with this Mustafa. Like to dig a little bit into his mind, see what's actually going on in there, right? Then I could do some analysis of what's really, I would love, like I say, I would really like to have a conversation with Mustafa, but Mustafa probably would be completely unwilling to have a conversation with me because he would probably suggest or put forth the notion that, what am I? One of these people that you're suggesting are just a bunch of dangerous white nationalists. What? I have white skin and I don't support or align with the status quo establishment. Do I fit that bill as well there? Farouk? This column is an opinion by Mustafa Farouk, a lawyer and a CEO of the National Council of Canadian Muslims. For more information about CBC's opinion section, please see the FAQ. You know, I'd fucking fall on my chair if I ever seen some right-winger who's been, claimed to have been a white supremacist. How about CBC? How about you let some of these people that you constantly target, label, and tar and feather, how about you allow them to submit an opinion piece and push back against this stuff. Why, of course, they would never allow that. It may destroy the narrative. This week, days before the 4th, like I say, look at the CBC is more than willing. And I mean, Canadian press up here. Once again, look at the kind of people, look at the organizations they come from, who they are as a person. You got to pay attention to all this stuff as the ones who are trying to target constantly white people and suggesting that we're all just by sheer fact that, I don't know, like I say, we have skin color that's the same as each other and don't go along with status quo. We're all just a bunch of far right nationalists. And once again, look at it. Another one. Again, right? Look, another picture. CBC, another picture. What's this? Proud Boys, right? Is this in Canada? What are they doing? It looks like it. I do see, well, there's an American flag, but it looks like there's a Canadian flag there too. But what are they doing here? Let's read about it. Members of the Proud Boys are seen here in October 2017. 2017! Demonstration in Toronto. The House of Commons passed a unanimous motion on January 25th that includes calling for the federal government to list the Proud Boys as a terrorist entity. Well, what were they doing back in October 2017 or between now and then that would elicit or solicit them being deemed as a terrorist organization? Where are the massive bomb plots and attacks and all these and violent fucking uses of force that are, once again, please, we dumb down, we ill-informed Canadians who we're just looking for some answers, man. Can you give me some? Let's try to find out. And maybe Farouk can enlighten me as to where all these violent extremists in Canada are. This week, days before the 4th anniversary of the Quebec City mosque shooting, of course, always the Quebec City mosque shooting. One fucking lowly loser fucking guy. And was he a right winger? He sure shit didn't look like one. But anyways, June, the motion passed unanimously in the House of Commons calling for the government to use all available tools to address the proliferation of white supremacists and hate groups and to list the Proud Boys as a terrorist entity. A clear signal is being sent. Their actions need to be taken. The actions need to be taken, but much more needs to be done. So label these people, right? What have they done to, like I say, to deem them as terrorists? Right? I mean, the threshold, the bar should be pretty high, right? They're not just calling them a hate group, but fucking terrorists. Terrorists, folks. Terrorists. Once again, once you've labeled someone as terrorists, think about what kind of harm is allowed to cause on, or what kind of harm you're going to be allowed to cause to these people once they're deemed terrorists. I mean, think about it. All you had to do is label anyone, like think about ISIS. You can do whatever you want to an ISIS member, right? Nobody's going to shed any tear for that because they're terrorists, right? So if you label other people in Canada, if you can label people something that's so demeaning, so derogatory, and makes people loathe them and hate them so much, that you can do whatever the fuck you want to them and not have to worry about it because it's the right thing to do, right? Once again, folks, yeah, who are the true authoritarians? Is it the right? Really? Because if it's the right, well, then I got to tell you, weak sauce, weak shit. I got to tell you, Nazis today are the weakest fucking Nazis in history. Because under Nazi Germany, man, that was some real Nazis, right? And there was more than just a few of them, and they weren't just out, petitioning or protesting, right? They were doing some pretty nasty shit, right? Oh, that's right, too. Nationalists, socialists, National Socialist, National Socialist Worker Party, German National Socialist, Nazi. Oh, that's right, too. Nazis are actually socialists. Do all socialists come from the right? Not necessarily, right? I'm thinking that there's quite a few people that promote socialism that are on the left. Oh, and they also love to sacrifice the individual for the collective on the left. National Socialism truly a right-wing thing? Makes you wonder. Or could it possibly be that leftists are actually the true fascists, but they like to project and misdirect because they're really good at selling stories and telling stories or selling a narrative? There's always that possibility, right? But unanimously, folks, the fucking motion passed unanimously, which means the conservative government, the liberal government, the NDP government. Who else? Oh, the Green. I think that's about it, right? In Canada, in terms of maybe a couple independents, but unanimously, every single one of them, not even one, stood to say, no, I don't think this is a good idea. They all chose to. Writing's on the wall, folks. big. It's in big red neon bold fucking writing. And yet there's still a lot of Canadians who are like whistling past the grave or whistling Dixie. I don't know. Someday might be wise and prudent to start waking up about this shit. The motion, which is now being considered by the government, was a vindication of the many Canadians who came together in the fall of 2020 to demand the introduction of a bipartisan national action campaign or plan to dismantle white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups that operate in Canada. Keep in mind that these Canadians gathered together and achieved important commitments from our government leaders well before the events at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., and there is an important reason why. The riot at Capitol Hill this month prompted routine warnings of how Canada shouldn't feel immune to the violence, white supremacy, and racist populism. It could really happen here. We're told again and again. This tiresome cliche overlooks how Canada is already sick with the disease of violent white supremacist groups. So, once again, Mustafa Farouk wants to, tar and feather you if you're once again challenging the status quo. Well, you're not just a white nationalist or supremacist, but you need big government. The monopoly of force of violence, right? To come down hard on these people. So Farouk is promoting violence himself. That is what Mustafa Farouk is promoting, using violence, locking some peoples in cages, right? Surveilling them, watching what they're saying and doing online. Sounds like Mustafa has a bit of an authoritarian streak himself, right? So once again, is Mustafa here projecting? Right? Seems like it. It completely aligns with the go-to narrative and the status quo of the left these days, where they literally seem to be constantly projecting their own moral failures or their own racist, misogynistic, or Islamophobic leanings. But once again, they just try to misdirect or project that onto other people. Anyways, once again, I'll share this in the old stream as well. And yeah, we got another one. Of course, it's not over yet. And look at this. What a coinky dink, right? Is this a coincidence? Hell no. Or wait, no, is this the one I already shared? Oh, that's the one I already shared. So we got the Facebook one. No, actually, no, there is another one. Shit. So there is another one. My goodness. And this is all just from this week, folks. This is just all from this week. Canada not exempt from social media forces that create U.S. Capitol right. Yeah, I think this is a different one, right? God, I got so many of them opened up. Yeah. Right, because we had this one. Facebook calls on the Canadian government to set social media rules. We had the postal workers. We had the MPs are sending a clear message. And yeah, I don't think I covered. Anyways. Or no, maybe I did already. No, I didn't, because I don't remember seeing this. Or would I? Sorry, folks. Canada not exempt from social media forces that create U.S. Capitol riot, Heritage Minister says new regulator would monitor and fine social media companies that allow freedom of speech. Canada is not exempt from the forces that led to... actually, maybe I did already read this. Anyways, once again, you're seeing more pictures, right? More pictures of what would typically be deemed as Trump supporters, right? It says here, Canada isn't shielded from the... But why is it that this is CBC News. Not one example. Why wouldn't you, if it's happening in Canada, wouldn't you at least have a picture of a Canadian example of this kind of white supremacy or extremism, right? At the very least, to give Canadians a reason why they would want to even rally around and get behind this shit? Or is this just a message because there's Canadians, and I've recognized this over the course of my whole life, or most of my adult life, is there is a substantial portion of the Canadian population are so resentful and loathe Americans to the point where you just need to send this. That picture is all that's needed for the people to get on board and support whatever the fuck they're saying, because they're just so resentful and hateful, right? They can't stand Americans. And why? Because Americans, yeah, they have a fucking way of doing things that I love it personally. But if you have no self-esteem yourself, right, and you're a conformist or a collectivist, yeah, you can't stand American exceptionalism or any of that stuff. It probably bothers the fuck out of you. And that would, of course, be representative of the kind of people who would be contributors or employed at the CBC, right? I mean, here we are again. Anyways, let me take this off because like I say, I'm not sure if I covered this already. I don't want to bore the living shit out of you folks with stuff I've already dealt with. God's holy wrath. What's going on? That's pretty cool. We must not have any holdbacks. No Quinn against extreme violence if we're to rise up and fight. Yeah. No qualm against extreme. Listen, what it is here's what, let me just say this real quick. Intelligent people do not have to telecast or say anything, right? If you truly want to do something to challenge the status quo, you know you got to do that stuff in private. If you want to do that, set this stuff up publicly on these social media platforms, then trust me, I don't want you to be the leader of anything. You're too stupid to realize that you're being monitored, surveilled, and they'll just use you as another prop. Not only do they take you down, but they'll just use the prop that they'll fucking wave around to the rest of us. See, look at this. Go ahead, challenge us. Once again, be wise, be prudent. Of course, shit needs to take place. Of course, a whole lot of things are going to have to happen. Of course, people have to going to grow some balls, some courage, and some convictions. But don't try telecasting any of that stuff on a social media platform. Let's talk to each other. Let's use our common sense. Let's use some reasoning, right? Point out some of the craziness, the hypocrisy that's taking place. But yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. Like I said, you got to be wise and prudent, folks. You got to be wise. Yeah, nobody's loving it. And we definitely hope y'all loving and living. I know, right? I'm totally against that shit as well. I'm against that. Get some nice rubber. Hey, I've already got a pair. GHR wants the conservatives and other patriots to now choose as soon as you blow up CBC HQ or what? Okay, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Okay, GHR. Somebody's come in here and talking shit like that. I don't know. Listen, can you stop talking about that fucking shit? Sorry, folks. Sorry. I'm just trying to go back here. Connector. Oh, actually, I'm not mad about that. He's right. Don't get mad at the guy. Now, I would just point out, like, hashtag not all. What I would say is, hey, God's holy wrath, right? Hashtag not all. But I'm not, like I said, don't get mad at the guy for pointing out the fact that there are a lot of Canadians who are rainbow flag wearing pussies or waving pussies. That's just a truthful statement. Fuck, man. If they're not talking about, if you're not one of them, don't take this shit personal. So that's what I always found with people. People get all like shit. They take shit way too fucking personal. Stop identifying as a fucking part of the collective. Let me just say this first and foremost. If you would just identify as a fucking sovereign individual, have a little self-esteem and self-respect, you wouldn't constantly be fucking, somebody said something about my tribe. Like you could say the worst fucking things, even when I was living in Toronto, and people would say, the Leafs suck balls. I'd be like, yeah, they fucking do, right? It's like, sorry, I don't have that kind of ridiculous pride and shit. It's like, for what? What? They suck. Why did I want to tell anyone otherwise when it's just a truthful statement? And by bringing out the fact that, yes, a lot of Canadians, or at least a substantial portion of Canadians, are rainbow flag waving pussies. I mean, what? That's just a truthful statement. We've all seen it. And if you're not it, then it shouldn't offend you if someone suggests that. So weird, man. So fucking weird. Man. Anyways, but I just hope that God's holy wrath. Well, let me just say, if you're still on here, I'm looking right now. Just don't bring any avocation of violence to my fucking channel, any of you, because if you do, you won't be coming back. Simple as that. Because you're not going to be fucking up my channel. But as long as you just talk, I don't care. You can talk smack all day long. I don't give a shit. I don't have that kind of thin skin like some people do. You do your thing. You can even say shit about me. I don't even fucking care. As long as you don't get into stuff that's like, like just plain evil, right? Stuff. But an insult, dig in. I believe deep down humans don't want freedom. They want to be ruled. That's true. And I'm not hating on you. You're saying stuff that I actually totally agree with. So keep going. I got no issue with you. I got no issue with you. Like I say, as long as you're not throwing any stupid shit. One Marine would kick 50 Canuck non-gender rainbows. Probably. I would agree with you there too. Right? That's another thing. You got to be careful because, yeah, you get some Canadians up here be all like, oh, my flag. Right? I know. It's a sad thing. That's why too many people in too many countries fail to fucking figure shit out because they just care about some stupid nationalist shit rather than, like I say, deal with each other as individuals. Like, way easier to figure out what kind of person you are based on talking to you as an individual rather than, hey, I'm Canadian. Well, what the fuck does that tell me? That don't really tell me much about you, to be honest with you. Oh, I'm white. So, anyways, this stuff is just all so fucking crazy. It's all so crazy, but it's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. But what else do we got here? Anyways, thanks for all you great folks that have joined the stream today. Having a good one. Actually, I'm seeing right now that even right now we got 42 live on the YouTube side of things, and I even got 6 over there on the old Facebook. Is anybody? How come I'm not seeing the difference between who's posting from the Facebook? Let me see if I can switch it up. Here we go. Facebook. See is anybody commenting on the Facebook? Eh? No, I think it's. Let me just do the Canadian Libertarian. Oh, I don't know. Kingston, Ontario. Well, here, what's going on? As long as you're not hurting others, no terrorism here. Just saying it won't be pretty. Now, I agree. Totally agree with you. Like I say, and I will not stifle your speech. You speak as freely as possible. Like I say, the only thing, just like, because it's the law, right? Not because of me, but it's the law that don't advocate for violence. That's it. That's all. That's like literally like real simple thing is just don't put anything in writing where somebody would construe that you're advocating for using violence, preemptive violence. That's a real simple thing. And then you can say whatever the freak you want on my channel because, yeah. Hey, originally from NB. Nice. Well, maybe not. But yeah, if Mother's Earth, who's your daddy? Mother's Earth, who your daddy? Anyways, let me get back here. Like I said, there's a few other things I wanted to cover. Should I read this one? I'm not even sure if I actually read that one already so far. So maybe I better go back. Save it for another day. See what else we got here. Because I got lots of stuff that I covered in here, but there's probably more stuff. Yeah, Canada falls to 20th in the world for vaccine doses administered. Trudeau going around trying to pump shit up. It's like, yay, we're number 20. Not that I care. I'm not fucking getting in line for that shit anyway. So by all means, take mine. Oh, check this out, actually, folks. Now, here's the problem. And this is not me. And I had a conversation with someone, not a conversation, I shouldn't say, but a little short exchange and interaction with someone on my and no, I'm not like I'm a libertarian. Let me just say I'm a libertarian. And if you come to my page, it's a libertarian page. Come on, at the very least, you know I'm not looking to use government or force as a means to an end. I'm a libertarian. But I will point out, just like I said to this person, I will point out hypocrisies and lies and propaganda every time I get the chance. And what it is the rules are not being properly enforced where everyone's being whole. If we were all held to the same standard, right, as these people were, then I think more people would be standing in defense of freedom. But because, like I say, it's so varied, right? Some people are allowed to have almost seemingly carte blanche freedom no matter what happens, no matter what kind of restrictions are imposed on us in terms of the COVID outbreak, right? And other people are just having their entire lives basically upended and completely destroyed because everything is imposing or everyone is imposing themselves on them. But it's you were definitely seeing there's massive discrepancies and variances involved. So no, I'm not against people traveling, but hey, big government said you're not allowed to fucking travel, right? And if I'm not allowed to travel, right? Once again, I don't think I should be prevented from traveling. But if other people, this is what's going to happen. If you're telling me I'm not allowed to travel and you're one of those people that supports government mandates and then you travel and you get caught and then you fucking get fucked up. Well, it's like, well, there you go. Maybe you should have been stop playing these stupid fucking political games in the first place and come together and show some solidarity with people like myself. And then, maybe we'd all be functioning with a little bit more of a voice of genuine unity rather than this constant parroting political talking points or the constant seeing as the other as the opponent or the enemy. And I'm just holier than thou, right? Anyways, headline out of the National Post, BC couple accused of flying to Yukon to get COVID-19 shots faces 6 months in fucking jail. Holy shit. So now it's turned into like, yeah, you might have to do some time. And for what's the crime? Doing nothing more than traveling. And obviously, if these people traveled, right, or flying, I think the airports, they must have let them in. The airlines must have let them board. And the pilots must have flew the fucking plane knowing that there were people on the goddamn plot on the plane, right? So once again, this traveling seems to be okay for some people, but not for others. And this is why, yes, this kind of shit's going to take place and why some people are going to have this kind of imposition massively harm them and others won't even notice that it exists. Because these that's the thing. These things are so arbitrary that it gives the enforcers of the state or the bureaucrats the ability to just arbitrarily pick who they want to punish and leave, the people that they align with alone, which is why this is so detrimental, which is why I'm totally and completely against authoritarian collectivism and anything that denies individual responsibility and culpability. The couple's initial fines have been stayed, and they've now received a notice to appear in a White House court in May. So this was reported by the Canadian Press, January 28th, 2021. A Vancouver couple accused of flying to a remote Yukon community to get the COVID-19 vaccine will have to answer for their alleged actions in a courtroom. Former Great Canadian Gaming Corp CEO Rodney Baker and his wife Ekaterina Baker were given summary tickets last week for violating the territory's Civil Emergency Measures Act, which carries fines of up to $1,000 plus fees. Yukon Community Service Minister John Stryker said Wednesday those tickets have been stayed and the same charges are being served upon the couple on a longer form information with a notice to appear in court in White House. The distinction means that if they are convicted, they could also serve up to 6 months in jail. I have to say that I'm outraged by this selfish behavior. All of us as Yukoners are outraged, Stryker told a news conference Wednesday. I find it disturbing that people would choose to put fellow Canadians at risk in this manner. A request for comment from the couple sent to email was not immediately returned. Anyway, so here you go, folks. Like I say, they're targeting you. And I mean, so inconsistent once again. But that's the thing with these arbitrary mandates and edicts. It literally does give them carte blanche ability to literally pick and target people based on who they want to, right? It's completely subjective at that point. And I mean, think about it. Give these kind of people who just love practicing some authority the ability to arbitrarily dole that out anytime or to anyone they see fit. Well, that's obviously a recipe of disaster and also a recipe for tyranny. I think I seen Rika in the chat. What's going on, Rika? Might need you to stick around for a bit here in case someone gets out of hand. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what we got here. I swear I thought I see. There we go. There she is. What's going on, Anarcha, Rika? C-Mac, what's going on? Muzzle up for court, baby. I know, right? What the fuck? Muzzle up for court, baby. Big time. Big a time. Okay. What else we got here? Lots of goodies. Lots of baddies. Just trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to cover real quick here. The anal swab. I think I actually covered that in a past video or stream. Oh, here. Let me bring this up real quick, just for a few of my other fellow MBers, before I tie up this stream, is check this shit out. And I do have that. Make sure I've got that. That's on my laptop, isn't it? Did I share it on here though? I'm going to bring it up anyways. If I don't have it here, you can check for yourself and I'll look for it and I'll make sure to place it in the description of this stream afterwards because I just wanted to put this out here. This stuff is so crazy. So here in New Brunswick, now they have dropped back down into orange from red, but this shit I keep finding so fucking disturbing and it's just crazy. So in New Brunswick, doctors plead with Zone 4. We're very worried about the next few weeks. Hospitals could easily get overwhelmed if COVID-19 continues to spread, doctors say. So this was reported by Jacques Poitras, January 27, 2021, sorry. 6 doctors in Northwest New Brunswick are going public with a direct plead to residents in Zone 4 to work harder to follow COVID-19 cases as the spike in the area continues. They say with case rates in the region at the same level as the city of Montreal, but far fewer healthcare resources to draw on, they risk being overwhelmed by a further spread of the virus. Much of the advice they gave in a 1-hour session was the same guidance provided by public health officials during the pandemic, but they said it was time to convey it directly. There are parts of the message not getting through, said Dr. Gaetan Gibbs, a family doctor in the village of St. Quentin. He told the more than 1,600 people watching live on Facebook that a negative test doesn't mean that you can ease up on precautions or that you can end your quarantine ahead of the 14-day duration. As of Wednesday, there were 150 active cases in Zone 4, giving it a rate of 311 cases per 100,000 people. That's more than 7 times the per capita rate in Zone 1 in the southeast New Brunswick and is in the same range as large urban centers such as Montreal. Now, first of all, let me just point this out. Not that it doesn't mean a whole lot to me per se, but I just got to make a visual observation and statement. Look at this doctor. Holy fuck, is this kid old enough to actually be a fucking doctor? Shit, he looks younger than my youngest son. I don't know, but whatever. Once again, I'm not an ageist by any stretch of the imagination, but really though. But the difference with Montreal, anyways, so it goes on. The difference with Montreal is there aren't hundreds or even thousands of hospital beds that could be used to cope with a surge in case. But the difference with Montreal is there aren't hundreds or even thousands of beds that could be used to cope with surge in cases, said intensive care unit internist Dr. Jean-Philippe. The system is very fragile and it can overwhelm our capacity very quickly. Blah, 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 blah. Nursing home in Evanston, 34 cases, and employees of Tuesday outbreaks in Zone 4. I'm just looking for here. I'm looking for the numbers. Everywhere in Zone 4. It's not just Edmonton. It's not just Grand Falls. They're everywhere. Several times residents were to get a. So no, nothing here. But I'm going to show you. And like I say, well, it's on my laptop. Let's see. Let me see if I can do it. COVID. I'll have to do the 19. Hospital. Or no, numbers. Okay. Oh, this might actually be it right here. Okay. Because someone shared it actually with me yesterday. Okay, so no, it's not this one. Let me go back. It must be this one. Case in New Brunswick, maybe. Jesus, it's taking forever. Okay, never mind. That's fucking useless. Hospitalizations, COVID-19. Brunswick, maybe? Let's try that. More locations and statistics. See if I click on that, if I can fucking find anything new. New cases, number of cases. Oh, wait a minute. Hospitals. Where's the hospitalization? There should be a hospitalization. There's deaths, cases, statistics. Why don't you make it easy to make it? Oh, come on. Like, this is so pathetic. So pathetic. It shouldn't be that hard to find out how many people are fucking hospitalized. Am I really going to have to go find that other article? News and updates. Oh, wait, here it is. I think I got it. I think this is it. Ah, here we go. Okay, the numbers have actually skewed up by 2. So let me show this to you folks. Sorry that I took a little while here, but like say they don't make this information as easy as it should be to find. But anyways, so they're worried. They're worried because it could get to the point where it's overwhelmed. Hospitals could easily get overwhelmed if COVID-19 continues to spread, right? So it's to suggest that we must be getting at least close to that point. You don't put out these kind of alarms if you're not at least getting close to the point where you may be overwhelmed, right? You don't do that when your levels such as, let's say, this. Okay, so here it is. I'll put the font a little bit bigger for you folks so you can see it. So this is straight out of, so you can check. So this is straight out of gnb.ca, New Brunswick government. News release, 2 deaths reported, 14 new cases, right? And if you scroll all the way down, you got to go all the way down. This is showing where the cases are in particular zones in New Brunswick. But here's right. All cases are self-isolating under investigation. So the number of confirmed cases in New Brunswick is 1175. Since yesterday, 24 people have recovered for a total of 831 recoveries. There have been 16 deaths, and the number of active cases is 327. 6 patients are hospitalized with 2 in intensive care. So 6 patients in all of New Brunswick, right? That's what it's saying. Yeah, this is total. This is total numbers. So 6 patients are hospitalized with 2 in intensive care. That's for all of New Brunswick, not just zone 4, right? For the entire province. A whole 6 patients are in the hospital and 2 of them in intensive care. 6 fucking people. 6 people, right? And that's cause for concern that we're going to overwhelm. I mean, first of all, I'll just say I don't believe that, but I mean, let's just say on the side. Let's say I believe they're bullshit. Well, then why has the government been stealing all those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from your income year after year after year to prop up this socialized healthcare system that apparently can be so easily overwhelmed that anything above half a dozen patients in the hospital is room for cause or concern or alarm, right? Like I say, no matter which side you come at this, to me, like I say, I think about it from the people. What it is when I think about any of these stories, I think about what kind of a right winger argument would they present to me? What kind of a left winger argument would they present? Because I've heard these fucks talk many times. So I've already got a counter narrative or a rebuttal to the propaganda or the rhetoric they espouse before they've even thought about it. Why? Yeah, I know it's not too hard to figure out how a collectivist think because they're collectivists. Kind of easy to read these folks, right? But yeah, 6 fucking people in the entire province, right, in a hospital, only 2 intensive care, and that's cause for this kind of alarmism. I don't know. Sure as shit don't make sense to me. What about you folks? Anyways, I'm probably going to soon tie up this stream. I'm going to check in and see how you folks are doing in the chat. I think we covered some pretty good stuff here, right? Hospitals here in the USSA are going bankrupt, so they can't be that busy. Yeah, exactly. Compared to the 1918, 1919 Spanish flu was the last pandemic. This is all about taking control. Yeah, of course. Of course, it's all about control. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for so long. I mean, the kind of people who are going to label people who are thinking critically like that as conspiracy theorists are the people that literally have been thinking critically at all. So don't be upset that an ill-informed or some ignorant dipshit that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground called you conspiracy theorist. That really shouldn't bother you at all. J for freedom. If the fake stream media did not put so much fear in the people, they wouldn't even go to the hospital when sick. They would just stay home and heal. Yeah. Yep. Next time you're in line for something, reach over and put your thumb in the person in front of you. When they get mad, say, I was just checking for COVID. Can't be too careful. That's funny. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yes. Well, government is a representation of force. That is what government is. Hey, what's going on? Someone in Quebec. Nice. In Quebec, they say the hospital, or sorry. In Quebec, they say the hospitals were overwhelmed. False. Been checking myself. Only 4 on hundreds are only 4 on hundreds are kind of full. Yeah, right on. Well, like I say, they've been kind of putting forth that narrative for a while now, right? Keep them scared. Keep them scared. Exactly. It's all about fear. Fear makes us easier to control. We all know this. Anyways, so like I say, I'm going to what do we got? We got this one. Just going to scroll real quick here and see if there's anything else I wanted to cover real quick before I tie this stream up. Yeah. Actually, I might do this as a standalone one. The pandemic has erased entire categories of friendship. It was out of the Atlantic, more left leaning publication, although it used to be historically somewhat centrist, like genuine liberal, right? But has definitely, some of the contributors have definitely pivoted more and more to the left. And, anyways, but it's an interesting article. Like I say, the pandemic has erased entire categories of friendship. And, that's the part that I think is most disturbing and devastating to so many people is they're just unwilling to listen to each other. I mean, if we would just say, and I recognize this in my own fucking life, can we just sit down and listen to each other? If you're unwilling to listen to each other, then I don't know how you get beyond this stuff, right? And of course, well, there's this one. I'll actually let me bring it out here, and I will place that as well. So let me just share it, I guess, so I can throw this up in there as well. Because yeah, out in BC, there's this, and you folks probably realize this as well. That even Oregon is saying that they're going to come down heavy-handed, and from my perspective, it seemed like BC was at least being the most lightest in the touch in terms of COVID rule breakers. Right? It seemed to be there for a while, but now even that's changing. Apparently, John Horgan urges those following the rules to dig deeper, but acknowledges COVID exhaustion for many. Well, at least he's acknowledging it, right? BC Premier John Horgan has promised those ignoring COVID-19 public health orders that officials will come down on you like a ton of bricks, but no new penalties or enforcement measures have been announced. So rhetoric without the full force of government backing it, you spew the rhetoric, right? Words are cheap as long as you're not actually putting that stuff into action. Anyways, like I say, I won't read too much on that. Didn't seem like that much of a big deal. Anyways, it kind of seems like they're just kind of trying to send a little scare, put the fear of government in the minds of the people, right? But doesn't look like they're willing to back it up with too much of like. It's one thing I will say: fucking Doug Ford, that fucking Legault guy in Quebec, man, and fucking Higgs in this fucking problem. They can really go authoritarian on your ass real fucking quick the minute you give them even the slightest chance to do so. That's something that I've seen for myself. And yeah, I will not forget anytime fucking soon what these people have done. The minute they gained even the slightest sniff of power, what they used with it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll never forget. I assure you that. And neither should you. Anyways, folks, I'm probably going to tie this stream up now. Looks like it's kind of slowing down a little bit. I think we've all had a little bit of information overload as it pertains to the constant squashing and attempted destruction of our freedom of speech in Canada. But like I say, I'm going to keep hammering away at this stuff, try to keep these streams typically mostly under 2 hours if I can, because I know people, I get the feedback all the time. It's like some people don't care for long form streams, right? Others constantly say that I like your standalone videos, the ones that are 10 minutes or under, do as many of them as you want, and I'll share as many. So that's why I'm trying to do both, right? Trying to keep that balance. I'm trying to stay out here doing the live stream where we can deal with stuff. And I actually like the live stream myself, but I also recognize that the standalone videos in shorter format, yeah, I know it's much better because it's easier for people to share them. And people are more conducive to watching a video that's 10 minutes long rather than a live stream that says 2 hours. I just don't got the time, right? So I get that. But like I say, I'm trying to help and cater to both people in that regard, and hopefully garner and earn enough support that once again I'll maybe gain back a little bit more, not just cred, but support, so that I too can help show that I'm an effective force with you folks helping me up and backing me, right, to push back against the status quo. Right now, I'm back to like I'm like the Minnie Mouse, right? I got a big voice. I got lots, but I got the smallest right, bullhorn. It's like my bullhorn is so small I can apparently only a couple hundred people can hear me in Canada. I'm hoping to be able to expand my reach, my voice, and apparently just yelling into the microphone isn't going to do it. That's where I need your help, folks, to try to get my voice out there. And if you think that's worthy of doing so, then help me in that regard. Because, like I say, I won't back down from anyone. I am the guy that, and I know there's some other people that are even more competent and articulate than me, right? But I'm the guy in Canada that is at least willing to deal with Canadians and the Canadian-oriented issues, right? So I'm your guy if you need me, but I kind of need your support and your ability to get my voice out there if I'm going to be effective in any way. Anyways, like I say, you folks have a great day. Today's Saturday, yeah. So enjoy the rest of this day. Check out that 1 o'clock thing that's supposed to happen at BC, that rally, what I was sharing earlier on, but definitely check out that rally. Just look for it on my social media pages. You'll find that on my Canadian Libertarian, and I think even on my Next Gen News and Views page. But yeah, if you're out there in BC, you don't got much left to do for the day, and you want to show some solidarity and join in support of a protest, to stand in defiance of these mandates, these edicts, and in defense of your freedoms, then definitely check that out and participate if you can. And in the meantime, do whatever you can. Like I say, whatever is possible, whatever is in your purview and whatever is in your control to help educate and inform as many people, because like I say, the writing's on the wall. They're trying their best to silence, bully, and intimidate anyone that challenges the status quo. And if we don't have enough people out there standing in defense or in defiance of this stuff, we're going to lose. We're going to lose that proverbial race. Well, at least, like I say, in the big realm, right? We'll be able to function in these alternative platforms who still respect our freedoms, but how long does that last? Because as we've seen, that was the thing that the message that I received loud and clear, right? When they went after, they shut down, they completely, deleted Trump's account, and then they even went after Parler because that's where Trump supporters gravitate to. So now I recognize the writing on the wall. They're not just going to target you on the dominant platforms, but they're even going to chase after you even on some of these alternative platforms. So yeah, we have to be wise and prudent and not just looking to retaliate or seek some safety or comfort in some of these alternative platforms. We might gain that for a short time frame, but eventually the hordes they'll meet us there and they'll try to impose themselves even further. And eventually we're going to run out of place to hide. So yes, no, feel happy. I am completely appreciative, happy, and respectful of the fact that I have alternative sources, alternative platforms to seek these safe havens or whatever you want to call it, where I can go to, right? Where my voice isn't squashed quite so readily, so easily. But at the same time, I'm not going to vacate the space. I'm not going to step back from the front lines when I realize that all that does is elicit my opponents to encroach on my space even further, right? I'm not going to do that, and neither should you. We must maintain the space as best we can. Not that we should support, these platforms economically per se, but at the very least, show that we're not just going to walk away or run away or shirk our duties and our responsibilities of defending our rights, freedoms, and liberties. That's not going to happen. Not by me, and not by at least most of the people who share my kind of resolve and resilience in terms of fighting for freedom and liberty. So I don't know where we're going to go from here, folks, but at the very least, it ain't going to be retreating. That is one thing I will say. It won't be this constant retreating. The buck stops here. It's time that we stand in opposition of these authoritarian collectivists who are constantly trying to attempt to destroy our ability to speak freely. Because once we've lost our voice, you know what we have left at that time, right? And yeah, we don't want to get that point. So let's keep the voices on the table and fight for them as long as we can. G'day, Libertarian, and I love liberty.